Mampani John Dramani Mahama abo amane se infrastructure development se wono mo eye empuntu nyuma no de niam ahodo ye boama asetena mu yedie eba na ma asetena mu eye mmerɛ ya kono matemamufo no edana baya koma so papa enti ebremu eno ene ade ya aban de nani asiso ya woguso a wodi ho dwuma na Mampani John Dramani Mahama kwakasa ye ewo Ghana UK Investment Summit 2026 enedwo ya ase ena obo mane se emfienum big push program ya aban de esi nani so a sika wo mo de ahyemu eye $10 billion no wono mo enam sa dwumadie no so ebesiesi akwantempo ahodo bebre ewo my Ghana mu na akwani abedie ho nsem etimi akoso wano Ghana akwani akwantempo so beye fe na ayekra be hye ba ne sa ebeboa ama woni a wo sika no opeso ode be hye my Ghana mu investors wo munyina ani age Ghana hom na won matutu America aba afei won mo di sika ewra oman mu no ebema oman ni sika sam ne ntotoye so atimi akonanim na afa ne ntoma pa efra wo kyeresa akwan a won mo siesie ni binom na ya kwantempo ya ewo eastern any western corridors afei efri enkran eba Kumase kwantempo no so expressway no so waka eho asem waso ogidi se wo mo yesa akwan nyina awia ebeboa pa ama Ghana fo ani age na akwani abedie ho nsem akoso wano enti adwadifo adane abranyina wo mo fa sa kwantempo yi a woboboso esu no won mo nyina ade ahosepe ne anije bekoso adi won mo dwa ama eniema mu ateretere na omanfo so ani age ho no de sika abehye Ghana mu enti sesie die uboro my Ghana mu a infrastructure development ene ade ba kwa eda aban no akoma so ya oguso a wotu ho anamon na wode to dwa se abremu na ban to nsafre investors a etwehia ewiase afa na nyina se won mo emra Ghana na Ghana ye krado so obeti won ma wa tu enhyehyɛ ahodo ode begu akwa mu ama investors a eba no ani age o my Ghana adwadie environment ne ho no won ban ni nyina sa pepepe na sika won mo de behye Ghana mu no ankwankoye sika ya edeka ebebre won mu Mampani John Dramani Mahama.
Infrastructure development remains central to our economic transformation agenda. Through the $10 billion 5-year Big Push infrastructure program, we're accelerating investments in roads, railways, ports, housing, transport corridors, and aviation infrastructure. We're modernizing key transport corridors, including the eastern and western corridors and the now iconic Accra-Kumasi Expressway. We're expanding airport infrastructure and pursuing the establishment of a new national airline to improve connectivity and facilitate trade, tourism, and exports between Ghana and major international markets, including, of course, the United Kingdom. We're also modernizing our ports and logistics systems to strengthen Ghana's position as the preferred trade and investment gateway to Africa. And Ghana's greatest competitive advantage is not only our resources or our location. Our greatest competitive advantage is our people.
And Chepi, Ebeto Montin, so say, oh my Ghana, Akonia Bedie, or Omainumu, say, Ofri Kumase, now Konkai, and I say, Ofri Cape Coast, now Bakumase, any Sunyani, the Akika Hunina, any Enkro Ahudu Muno, Akonia Bedie, no, and penny for Ashe, now Wonum Apeja cash in Tiadia and Tumu, Wonum Ede 20% Ede Atum. Now, Ebra, Ebepiemu, our Montin, so now Wonum de Detia, what they eto so, and say, second, nese bosumi ya yewramu ya ne da ya etosumienu na ebefrasie eno na eneyi aban no abosa akatua ka katua entumu no wabo ede aguo se dabi aban no enim ho hwe eno nti woni a wode sakrata na ba abonten no wontwe emfamfiri emframam kura wontwe fanko wonumachi efrise sa hyehyeye no aban enim ho hwe 20% entumu ya wonumu ebetu cash ntiade mu no aban no aboagu na opanimpa ya wono na obepiem wo my Ghana wo ye transport minister honorable Joseph Bukari Nipe ena de sansemu etudwa ebra wonum ekoye enhyemu ewo review retreats ewo ho wonum eyewieye no a ena ensantrofo bopini no mo se enedwo na ensemu a aba monten so ene se nyame yadomu a wochina ya eye ebenada no ka chintiade yetum yepejamu diako ohamu ntitemu aduonu na no na woka edisi sudua se aban no nim ho hwe ɛno nti obi biara ni ho kwan ɛne ho tumi sɛ otumi epagya ne buom sɛ deɛ wɔpɛ ɛno nti wɔka ade asiso dua sɛ ɔman anase Ghana nyinaa yɛnma saa ensɛm no yɛmɔntomu na yɛmfa no sɛ ɛyɛ hwebuada wabra ɛno nso entimi enyina sɛ wokɔforo wo ka tuadada na wotua no a ɛbra wodi nkɔmɔ no nsɛm bi sɛ ɛna honorable Joseph Bukari Nupere ɛde tuja
any agreement between the Ministry of Transport and the unions on any transport fare increase. We know they have brought in proposals, but till we are done negotiating with them, there's no one party that can increase fares in this country. So I am appealing to those who put it up that we do not take only one side of it to increase fares. We do it collectively. There's already an arrangement with the Ministry of Transport and all transport unions that before you can increase transport fares, it should be negotiated for. Before you can reduce transport fares, it should be negotiated for. And so we had a lot of conversation throughout this week on such issues. Sometimes I find it difficult to come out, especially when you are dealing with unions. After when you have 1, 2, 3 meetings and it's not concluded, and you want to come out as the sector minister, sometimes it will lead to some loss of interest or confidence in you. But I can tell all Ghanaians that we are yet talking with all the transport unions. We have not agreed on any increment for now. They should be patient. We are working with the transport unions.
Osofo yi ekasawi ya anche ena yehu se krata bi aba bontin na wonum aye road transport operators na se protofo wom sanso na GPRT fo wom ene woni ye keka ho nyina wonum se won so de krata aba bontin a wo twe won ho ede afri akatua ka shintiade entumu 20% no omonso enim ho hwe enye omokra na de ba bontin eno nti Ghana fo ye nyina ye mo sansem no entumu na asem a wonum de etudwa nyina akiremu se sansem we no anase ka shintiade entumu no eya aban ene transport operators no empanimfo na betenase na wonum tenase na wonum adi anobaba ye wie na won nyina kɔ benkromu a ansa na watumi ade aba eno nti sɛdeɛ ɛda abɔnten ne yɛse nyame yɛ adomo a wɔkyena benan wonum ɛto shintiade mu ɔha mu enchemu aduonu no sabi ennyade a efiri wonum akache ene baaye wonum ensa enhye saa krata na se eno nti Ghana fo enfa no hwebuada na mayemfa enya asem sanso na wobo adroba fo kokko se wo na obi a anto ne buom ewom se fuel prices fango bo no kosoro pa ewom se enyoma ahodo pii no a se mo koto spare parts ne ade a ne bo no ekonanim nanso esefata sempanimfo timi tenase na wonum adi anobabaye na wonyina akɔ benkromu a watimi apegyam obia mfa ne pɛ ento ka shintiade mu enti Ghana fo ene obi biada a wofa ka edi akɔneaba bia enhwɛ na wonche ne ho emfamfiri saa ade no ho yegyimu a mamuntia na opani a ne nsahye krata yase eye Mr. Emmanuel Ohene Yeboa ɔno na ye General Secretary edema Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council wode ba abontin
enano fiada ene beto jasa Ghana mrashibejafo kwa asetena no won nyina boaboa won ho anu aka bomu age Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill aka anti-LGBTQ bill sakrata aso hwehwe no atom na kyeresa de aka ne se befiri fie ho na akoto mampani epono so no ono nso ede ne signature ahyase na frase ayemra na aye adwuma wo Ghana ha efiri fiada no nkomodie bebre na aba ho na edomkumu e wo Ghana mrashibejafie ede nsa atnetene NDC majority ya omo Ghana mrashibejafie so se one mo boa pad won sa akeka emra no a won mo di kan tintim ne bre bi atwamu na Ghana fo nyina ani gye ho no amasesei gidie ni arehemu ya na omanfo wo wo sa bill no mu se ebeboa na woni a eye ntumu na ma omo ne ma eye supini ade etimi atwe won maso no nyina ayira said the Reverend Tim Fojo a wo ye Asin South Mrashebedwanim na wo ye co-sponsor ema sa bill no echiremu no anka ne niema ahodo ne mmara bi a won mutintim wo mu no na ama bill no mo ayedu papa ti Ghana for dodo no a wo kenkan ye no ani gye ho ka sampa se won mutimi pass sa bill no na beye mmara ebeboa pa ahye mmara no mukena ama sa supifo no nyina ani gefo no wahye atwe won maso nanso ba bi a NDC majority for no de ade no akoduru sesei na wode won sa akeka no ama emu aye ha ogidi sa Ghana for arehye mu wo mu nyina ayera.
The same bill, when we place it before them, in the expectation that the same President Mahama, who promised to sign the same bill that they wanted President Akufo-Addo, and we all wanted President Akufo-Addo to sign. However, when that bill was placed, the bill in that form was not presented to President Mahama, but had to be mutilated, had to go through major surgeries, had to be amended, had to be deleted. Original provisions from the bill 22 had to be deleted, redrafted, and 31 insertions made before President Mahama would have it and desire it to sign it. Was that a promise? Was the promise to come and amend, review, mutilate, alterate, dilute the bill before he signs? You all remember. The promise was clear. Vote for me. I will come and sign the bill. On all their platforms, they said, vote MPP out because they won't sign the bill. Vote NDC. NDC will come and sign that bill. They did not say NDC will come and amend that bill. NDC will come and review that bill. NDC will come and delete provisions from that bill and redraft it before we sign. That is a scam, and that is breach of trust. That is deception, and that is hypocrisy. So today, instead of President Mahama to assent to the same bill we passed in 2024, they have changed it extensively, and what they have today is materially different from what was passed in 2024. Substantially different. You can't subject a bill to 22 deletions and 31.
Enti semtrefo nhye mu ye dom kuma e wo Ghana mrahye fie efre yase na semtre ni awoto nkrafri mrahye bedwa mbraye na nakwakubo fa wo hobie e na Reverend Tim Fojo eto ne nsam so no se anka ne bill no a won di kan tintim ye e wo mrahye bedwa na eto so nwotwe no na emu doyie ya na emu oduro etese ewo se wo hwe wo no na nso mfra ya emu dududu na fofra wo mo di aba na anu ya wono mo ese wode won sa ehya ase no wo hwe mo clauses ye emra ya hodo a won mutintim yese enam so ede asotwe ebema won a wo ye gay ewo o my Ghana ha no emu makomako aduonu mienu 22 ena wo mo ye afri mu afedodo no anso ena wono mo aye nsakraye wo mu kire so mo aye amendment eno so aye makomako aduasa ba ko 31 enti Reverend Tim Fojo so no kwasem pa won mo hwe se de bill no etie sesei no a yemunya du se de dakane no na Ghana fo nyina ani age ho no a won mususu se ede asotwe ya emudo ebema won a eye won a wo bo ho dawro ene won a wo so won masene e wakoni asa nyina so se de be ya ema ene meda mema ene mema eda eho da ubo ano betimi abrase e wo my Ghana mum enti sesei de won mo eka ene se sede na omanfo nyina ehye animo no bill foforo yi ampanifo apase no nyesa e na etie na won mususu se dada no emom ekoma mpani John Dramani Mahama table so no osensan eno a ebeboa asen foforo a womode abe.
These are dangerous dilutions. These are dangerous deletions and insertions. We should not be allowed to just go like that. We want the old bill to come. We want the old bill to come. The old bill is what has the deterrence, the teeth to bite. If you want to say Adia Akufo-Addo went to me and Mahama Baya Wabeya, what that means is that the bill that was passed in 2024, President Mahama, you sign it in the shape and form as it was. The shape and form as it was passed. And the Becca said, Adia Akufo-Addo went to me and Mahama Baya Wabeya.
Na anti-LGBTQ bill ya ye ka ho asem ne di ho nkomo no ne nyina twa ne ho a abobo no ya abekwa akoto eye Ghana mampanyin John Dramani Mahama ne table so na ebekwa akoto se de be ya obetumi ede ne tiredua asane ase na abɛyɛ mmara wɔ ɔman Ghana mu na no ɛna bere a wɔkɔpie mu ɛwɔ London na Abrochima mu mpanimfoɔ bi abusa no sɛ yɛate sɛ sɛsɛyi mmomra hyɛbadwafoɔ no wɔnom agye atom wɔpaase bill no ɛno nti sisia no wɔyɛ wotwerɛdua no ready ɛba a wobɛsan anaasɛ wɔbɛyɛ den ɛno na mampanin de to dwa sɛ adwobrɛw munya abotrɛ bill no enya ɛbatɔ nepono so a wɔbɛyɛ nhwehwɛmu asiaseɛ sɛ fikɔ ɛne yɛ ɔbɛdan akyire ɛde ama alɔyafoɔ a wɔnom ɛwɔ natenayɛ hɔ presidency sɛ de bɛyɛ a wɔnom bɛtumi afekyerefekyere mmara no wɔn ahyɛ sɛ ɛsɛ fɔta sɛ wɔsane a adan wɔbɛsan paa sɛ de bɛyɛ a ɛbɛba bɛyɛ mmara na no wɔsan de to dwa sɛ ɔno kora no wɔte sɛ asɛ mmarahyɛbadwafie ebinom nti wɔn ho ase ɛbra na yɛ paase bill no kora no na ebinom mpo enni hɔnom ɛno nti nipa dodoɔ na asɛ fɔta sɛ otimi hyia mu no otimi gye saa bill no ɛto mu no wɔnom antimi anya ɛno nyinaa yɛ adeɛ baako a wahunu na wɔde n'ani edi akyire ɔbɛhwɛ sɛ pɛpɛɛpɛ yɛ ɛne ɛkwan so mmara no bɛfa ne kwan so pɛpɛɛpɛ ansa na sɛ wɔno ebetumi asan ama na bɛyɛ mmara wɔ ɔman Ghana mu a wasan ɛbra a wɔdi nkɔmɔ ɛwɔ Chatham House London no say and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama de Tuja.
The only reason Ghana's in the news. it has been one.
Yeah. Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said, when I was the opposition leader, the President has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent, and so once the President gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament. And so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the Presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the President is advised to assent. The President has another option if there are some things that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the President, and so they will take a look at it, and then they will advise the President. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the President would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes.
Yeah, that's why Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bills and Semia Hona Ashafo Bekaya na no fiada no a Ghana Mrasebejafo edi sa adwuma nyina no na Right Honorable Speaker Alban Kingsford Somana Bagbin oni fie ho enti First Deputy Speaker Owura Bernard Ahiafo enetina adwamu ya won mu di sa adwuma no Speaker ba oba ya amane a wo bo ene se eye ne nwanwa pa se no oni ho no oba beto se Emrasebejafo no apase sa anti-LGBTQ bill no. Enti se anamo a wo betuo ene se oni afanu no majority ni minority na betena se. Na won mo so adwene na kwan e fa so ya won mo keka ne mesi ani hu se ba bi adro no. Esesa won mo pass wo de hu nkomo. Na sa nkomo no achi e na won behunu ba bi a suicide body hu no e be fa.
LGBTQ+ bill and its passage is for me coincidental. It was not planned to happen at the same time. I think that we have had so much time to consider that bill. Right up from 2021, it's been reversed. It lapsed at the end of the 8th Parliament. It had to be taken through the same process because we now have a new Parliament, the 9th Parliament. And so it couldn't inherit what was left there because that's the practice in Parliament, the convention. So it has to come back again to the initiators through the sponsors who have changed anyway. They have changed because some of the sponsors in the last parliament could not make it up to the 9th parliament. Then we have to go through the advice from the Ages Department and all other stakeholders who were involved. Then we have to get the new parliament, the new members, to understand what all these things are about and to look at the law. And you know the copious instruments and laws on human rights. All over. We have to go through all, from the UN Charter to the African People's Rights and what, all. We have to go through all. Then we have also our development partners who had a lot of contribution to make. We had the United Nations coming in with proposals, some memo and everything. We as Ghanaians also have to dig deeper into our cultures, our customs, our values before we came out with what was passed on Friday. And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me, because I know that they were going to start the consideration of the bill. And that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday, and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies because we were going to sit.
Right, Honorable Speaker Alban Kingsford Somana Bagbin, AM Rashe Bejafie Chiamehine, and I would say, what training Semusa or Bayano, I am one and one no. Set Bill no, and I woman in Guso, Eddie Home Koma, na one more Esusu, set or pass it, nebe yenny when you or Bayan or Bayan or more afanechin waye, and Winti or betu one a mombre quenimu, free and no home. Na yakọ ensem fufromu ewosika sem o mansika kwabia Bartime Bank of Ghana no ebo amaniesa wo mo bekoso a ayentoto ya ne hihya ahodo a emu odin etimi abo ma Ghana sika sem egira ne na so branem na ba bia wo mo do omani AC pa no eye amanone kwan o manfo fa so emane sika ede ebafie eye offshore remittances. Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama na wo ye governor Emma Bank of Ghana ebo amaniesa for 2025 sa offshore remittances no omo de hihya ahodo bi egu akwan mu eye nsakraye ewo kwan a na wo manfo fa so omo di sika efi amanone ebafie enu nti sa hihye efofra wo mo ye no eso abaye ede ema wonom enti wo hwe offshore remittances eho emfaso ya afi 2025 nko a my Ghana enya yam na sika no ekọ animu $8 billion enu nti ebo aye wase ankane no se na obi wa amanone na wo mane sika abafia na won mo efefefa kwati kwan so goro boys so ni ade nanso ebra wo mo de nhihye egu akwan mu no ma Ghana de hye ati amanone ehunu sa Bank of Ghana for any ku anamo a won mo etu ohun nti wo mo eye nhihye se be ya obi ya sika befa kwan paso abedru fie na ebi enkodi sika bottle fufuro mu no omanfo nyina agitu mum ebo aya wo mo di sika no efa kwan paso pepe pese de efa ho a oman so ente ho kakra ewo mu no ne nsa ebetumi aka enti obetumi aka de ne sesini bo se sa hihye no omoye no abapa aso no aboa amoman Ghana etimi ayire ne temo paye ewo sidi bambo ho afei American dollars no so omotimi anya pi esie ede ama behianda.
Before we came in, at the time we came in, there was a lot of offshoring going on. By offshoring, some of the companies located here who take your remittances, what they do is, instead of paying the pounds into the nostro accounts of a Ghanaian bank so that it enters our system, they rather arrange, they give you cedis back in Ghana. They rather arrange for somebody to give you the cedis in Ghana instantly. Yeah. But then the pound sterling or the dollars here, they keep it aside. So they turn themselves into FX dealers, whereas they are not licensed to do so. When they do that, the monies they take from you is not made available for us to use. So banks can, for example, use it to finance LCs, pay for imports and the likes. And so when we got in, we had to put in measures to compel all these people to pay in those flows so that the inflows come through. Because when they come through, it helps to stabilize the cedi. No wonder last year remittance inflows got as high as His Excellency has given the figure, nearly $8 billion US. Yes, go ahead and clap. It was nearly $8 billion US. Remember, that was about half the entire amount we got from foreign direct investment.
Dr. Johnson Esiama Pandits and a governor Yawada Bank of Ghana anom. Now was I kasa efa Ghana Cocoa Board, I will try to Cocoa Board, one musika some home. Was it say abayin ede emrafu fro eba ede abebo Cocoa Board sika sem ehobra. Na wamujidi sasa mrano ebetimi abua pa ma Ghana Cocoa Board etimi abua sikano eguho. Said ye beya e kabebrebe ya amene asye no nyina no won mo ebehwe na wadi bi atia enti de omode ba foforo no eye commercial paper kra ya eno de eye mono afei na won mo eye ho adwuma no ogidi se eba bebo ade no omo sha ase de ya adwuma beboa ama Cocoa Board asan akenyan no ho bi.
Financing for Cocoa Board. I know there are plans to introduce some new regimes. The minister is working hard on that. But yesterday I had a discussion with them. They should be able to issue commercial paper. You know, so instead of just going to borrow from a bank, because you know there's a limit to how much you can take from a bank. We link it to the amount of capital that the bank has. So if the amount, the ratio will go, you know, above the regulatory levels, then that loan cannot happen. So there are constraints. But the good part is they can issue commercial paper. The question is if it is secure, if the facility is well structured. We have over 100 billion in pension funds. So why do we struggle to raise 4 billion cedis when there's 100 billion sitting in pension funds? So I told them it's about structuring it well. So that issue should be addressed very soon, but it shouldn't be a sole dependence on the banks. We should use the capital market. Right? Because the funds are there. You know, now that treasury bills have gone down, people are looking for where to place their investment. So it's all about structuring. And I'm working with Cocoa Board together with the minister to put together some commercial paper. I'm sure within the next 1 week.
Na Dr. Johnson Esiama etwa so ebo anohobase ebre ekwa animo no. Enya dia Omansika Krabia Bank of Ghana no won mo ebeye adwuma aboka biemu sede afi 2024 won mo eye adwuma na wade won kontabuo ho asem nyina babeto abonten esekere asem no mu nokure kan ye na won mo amfri twene no anim ankobo nchen ekire mu eniema hodo ya ekoso wo mu dwumadie mu a eka eba ye no sa pepepe na won mo asua bibi afri mu nti wo ye NCC to o hwa animu se efri afi ekono de won mo dwuma wo beye bia no eye de won mo di ensiye ebeka ho bi na boa ama won mo sikasam akoso agina enti se Bank of Ghana eye adwuma na wo masan abo kabie mu de wonyini se bi ebebebi.
Many of the issues that we came to meet, we had already analyzed, we had developed solutions. And so immediately, you remember, we had to tighten monetary policy quickly. Why? Because there were some policy missteps the year before. And so inflation was still high, the exchange rate was still very volatile when we came in. So much liquidity had been injected since 2022. And so we spent last year draining that excess blood. No wonder you saw our financials, how much it costed us. But it was a necessary cost. You know, we call it a reset cost. And we believe that based on where we are now, we can tackle the real sector problems. We've brought about stability. Most of the costs that we incurred last year will not be repeated this year. But last year was the heavy lifting. We did a number of things. We looked at the interbank forest market, for example. A lot of new guidelines were issued.
It was so our UK Abrochimamu Ghana UK Investment Summit 2026. Yeah, Ekoswana and Commodity Ahudwana, Ekoswa Honomono. A honum and my Ghana, young photo sign for no watching Sika Samswo. Dr. Kaakyire Papabi and also Eddie Kokwasi and Komoka Krawa Honum. Nanina and say, what person waka Esisudia say, said the Bank of Ghana won't pan in pano echreno. wonu mu be hyase na ne commercial paper no wo de adijuma e wo cocoa board wonu ma so ye ne nyina ene se kane no de na ye frɛ no cocoa syndicate loan na ne ye dikan akɔpɛ sika bia akɔhwehwɛ sika sɛ yɛsrɛ mo moma yɛ sika na yɛ cocoa ba na ye de aba abɛte eno ene ade a wonu mu hyɛ sɛ wobetumi ayidi afiri hɔ eno ka ho bi ma ekɔfo a ɛka susuro e de brɛ cocoa board ama eno a didimu ama eneyi ene ye wonam a yesi ye wode ye ka betua ye ka ene de keka ho eno nti wonu mu de tudwa sɛ wobɛyɛ nsakyerɛyɛ ma papa ye bɛboa ama cocoa ɛho sikasɛm atimi agina brani na yɛnkɔde wɔ bia ka biam na ne yɛbɛtumi atoto yɛ nneɛma yie sɛ de bɛyɛ cocoa no wɔ my Ghana bɛtumi anya so mfasoɔ na ɛnkɔyɛ ɛkabɔ afi bia ɛbra Dr. Kaakyire Atofosin edi nkɔmɔ no ɔde nsɛm bi sɛ yi ɛtoja.
The transaction advisor that we contracted to put together the cocoa board new issuance have just submitted their report. And I think we are ready to issue the paper anytime soon. It's going to be commercial paper. Non-residents will be invited to participate. And we are not solely relying on Ghanaian banks. We rely also on pension funds and also on non-resident investors. We'll issue it 3 tranches. Tranche 1 will be able to cover up to 2 months of purchases. Tranche 2 will cover another 3 months of purchases, and tranche 3 will cover the rest of the season. We have structured it in such a way that the receivables will go into an escrow arrangement, and we'll use the same receivables to repay those facilities. We have structured it again in a way that we'll retire it within a period of 8 months. So 8 months, the debt will not exist, and the following season we'll reissue it. The old syndication served Ghana well for at least 33 years. Even though it provided liquidity to the central bank, to the Ghana Cocoa Board to be able to buy cocoa, it denied the country from value addition. And so we believe that we need to depart from the old structuring. We'll be able to process a minimum of 50% of cocoa purchases locally. So I'll be going to Parliament after the President approves, and the Cabinet approves the new Cocoa Board bill to get a new Cocoa Board Act in place. I believe that that will be done, give and take, by the end of June. And so Cocoa Board will not only get new financing, but to be reformed completely. Cocoa Board will be able to buy cocoa beans from the farm gate at prices determined by international market, and the cocoa farmer will be guaranteed a minimum of 70% of whatever cocoa that they produce. And so the law is going to Parliament, and the structure.
Dr. Kaakyire Atofosin Koswa de nsɛm ne bi to dwa na ɔkyerɛ mu sɛ wɔnam abɔnten a deɛ nkurɔfoɔ kan ne sɛ economy na inflation na timi agina yie no ne nyinaa wɔn de Ghana sika ɛna onum asesa de ahyɛ mu ɔma pɔmpia gum ɛne deɛ keka ho na ɔkyerɛ sɛ dabi ɛyɛ enniema pa ɛne ntutuye mapa ya wonum tutuye ɛno na aboa ma eneyi inflation atimi agina yie na wo my Ghana sikasɛm etimi ɛkɔ yie na obi ani agye ɛwɔ my Ghana mu na nneema pa wonum de gu akwan mu no ba ko pa edi mu akotene ɛne gold board ya wonum de ba ye no aboa papa ɛma Ghana yɛsesa yɛsika akɔ no ɛnkɔtɔn yɛsɔre ya na yɛasesa gu bag ni akɔtɔn no dabi say free ho and until gold board ehia na ogigi bi gu ho no mu a na aboa ama Bank of Ghana so atimi agina so bi e de ahye yensika sem mu na no ama ye economy any inflation no atimi agina yie eno nti na ne Ghana yensika sem inflation any economy no ne nyina atimi agina ne naso no nti abasobode no ebekọ ewo anamontuo ne siseye mapa awonum yeye na wokofo gold board e de baye.
In the last 10 years, public debt has been increasing on account of not only government expenditure, but also stock flow adjustment. Stock flow adjustment, simple put, is the state-owned enterprises transferring their debt into the central government, about 2% of GDP. In fact, actual number is 2.5% of GDP. And so we introduced the commitment authorization, that yes, you can be a state-owned enterprise, but we need to approve the kind of expenditure and the kind of commitment. Overall, what we've seen is that by cutting expenditure, we have actually assisted the central bank to be able to control inflation. And this was important from that stand. Then secondly, we needed to ensure that we capture our gold to control the gold export. And so we introduced what we call the gold board. And the gold board was to ensure that gold that was hitherto leaving the country through smuggling and the country was not benefiting from the value chain is actually stopped. And so what we did was the introduction of the gold board alone, once calendar year, we're able to buy gold up to 14 billion United States dollars. And that 14 billion assisted the central bank to be able to build reserves. Today, the central bank has a very healthy reserve position. And this year, we expect to buy gold at least 20 billion United States dollars.
Country for penny a wash Ghana Gold Board at Naye Ayora Summit Gemfi. Wakwana nanma hemfu bedja at Naye Kesia ewo asante mantemuha ene nananum akokasa. Nkasa emu no obo amaniese aban eni eku. O my Ghana fagudie asoye no pa ho yiem. Na ade baako aban eguso etu ho na mo ene se wobebo Ghana bobre ho bra. Na wahwe se Omanfo won mo enam kwati kwanso etu galamse no obesua won mo so kon no wayi wo nyina firi ho sade be ya Ghana obo ade bobra wode adom ye environment no won mo betumi asiesie na ensasetam ene kwaye brentuo nyina san si ne dada mu bim enti ade baako ya Ghana Gold Board for eye na won mo de aso National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat NIMOS for no asene ene se won mo kodo Edi ama wonom no omode afa omai Ghana sutine ene tade awodo so baabi agalamse adoko won no pa yie enti sameja mfia da no odi se won maton boat no maako edu 10 speed boat ena won mode boa NIMOS for ewo won mo kon ya oguso esai ewo illegal miners galamse for no.
Madam President, the Gold Board is determined to support this national effort so that we can win the fight against illegal mining. And so last year, even though we were just barely 8 months old, we gifted to NIMOS, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operational Secretariat, 5 pickups and an amount of 5 million Ghana cedis to strengthen their fight against illegal mining. And this year, Madam President, we have already ordered 10 high-spec ultra-modern speedboats for NIMOS, for the soldiers. We ordered this at a recommendation of the Ghana Navy because we realized that even though illegal mining is rampant, the one being done in and around our water bodies is the most grave, that is the gravest sin to the people of this country. So we want to give NIMOS speedboats so that they can focus and pay attention to the water bodies. And we are supporting them to deal with anybody who engages in illegal mining mercilessly. On the legal side, we have made it a condition of our licenses for all our licensed buyers to buy for us only gold mined by either participants of government's cooperative mining schemes or licensed small-scale mining companies.
Enti sakodo we no no a Gold Board for ede eso ejimako NIMOS asene ne beboa na won mo de afa ensutine ahodo so won ye galamse nyina na watimi acheche won sameja mfi ese ene Gold Board eso enyimako mienu asene wo Ghana ha na won mo ankasa timi aboa adada sika kokko ya wo betuo no ani sade be ya kane no won mfa ro ne sa nkwa ama no ne enkonkoton na eho no kra won de kokoton sika ebefiri mu aba no eyekuma bi na se Ghana she enyumaku ahodo eden na wo mo ankasa dada gold no ani a ebeboa pa yie ama sika botene ye sese oman no enya edi free ne fam agudie atena ye no no wonsa atumi aka same se anamo won mo etuo no ebeboa bonyuma kwan ama omanfo enya bia ye afei ebesa ama oman Ghana sika ya wonya efri sika kokko a won mutu no ha no emu so ayedu
until 2026 this year. Ghana did not have even one gold refinery that was actively refining the gold we produce. So since the days of our forefathers, all the gold we produce, both from the large scale sector and the small scale sector, are taken out of Ghana in their raw form. And so the benefits that we could have gotten from the full beneficiation of that important mineral eluded us for many years. Another precedent under the recent agenda of your son and brother, His Excellency President Mahama, we are changing that narrative. We are supporting existing private-owned gold refineries that have been established in this country, in some cases 8 years ago, in some cases 3 years ago. But because government policy was not supporting them, they were not getting gold to refine for us locally. We signed the Gold Coast Refinery Agreement sometime in February this year, and only last week we signed another agreement with Royal Gold Ghana Refinery, located at Diamond House, where the PNMC used to be located. We want to move this further, and that is why President Mahama has announced a bold vision under President to ensure that by the year 2030, Ghana will not export any mineral.
Yentoa so ewo abibima mu hanom ensemo a ekoso ewo South Africa ye friend no xenophobic attacks ahodo ya ekoso ewo honom Ghana de hye binom so ewo honom ne no na Ghana ban abo amane se wono de na de hye won hye ema wonum nko atete ene ohaw mu enonti onam kwan bia so se wo betumi na wafa Ghana de hye ede wonum afri South Africa abepiemu wo my Ghana mu se de beya obetumi abeka wabusuansa na wonum ho asan na no na ene Ghana ban ebo amane se wonum di kan ede ofa edi kan no eba ye no na wonum eye ahasa na se 300 no ene wonum di wo mu ebepiemu wo my Ghana mu na wo mu bepiemu no wo mu hyase se wa wo pese ye san fa oba bia ye fa omra Ghana bia no kwase ye honum Ghana High Commission ye wo South Africa na wo so ko register na wonum hye ahokeka Ghana fo edidi mrika ya wonum ba woni ye won krata woni ye ni krata nyinada eka ho bi ya wonum nyina eba se ye obetumi abe register na honorable Samuel Okujeto Abrakwa eyosofo a hye Ghana ene amahodo so ensem so wono ene di sansem itudwa no wo kire se sei woni ye pese wo ba no wo number no wododo no atimi apagya mu a akosi bese aha bese 900 ene ye kire ya ekọ apem anisa eno eyade a ekire se Ghana de hye aye krado se wonum pese wo ba wo man mu na wo kan de asisudua se de South Africa for wonum ede video ahodo eba montenso se ani Ghana fo a yebefo a womu no womu ni nkrata ntia omu di abonefo sem e South Africa wo se nokura bia enim anti se mote sansem no a momongu na woni a wo fa womu no eye timamufo Ghana fo a wonu won krata na emra kwanso no womu emra ma won kwan se wotimi tena mu e South Africa e na wonum e fa womu sei e na Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa e de to nsektrefo ani mu.
The final batch of Ghanaians in South Africa have all now registered. We have a little above 600. Earlier, those who wrote their names was in the region of 800, but it's clear that we'll have to go beyond that. We now are exceeding 900, but thanks to the compassionate leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he has said that all Ghanaians in harm's way, in distress, who are being harassed, being dehumanized, we should not leave anyone behind. And our foreign policy is that of compassion, is that of leaving no Ghanaian behind. And so we are going to make sure that all Ghanaians are safely taken out of harm's way. And as I have said, once the safety and the dignity of any Ghanaian anywhere in the world is affronted, you can trust that the foreign ministry, the government of Ghana will come and assist you. We do not want anybody in this world thinking that Ghanaians are orphaned, Ghanaians don't have a government, Ghanaians are not valued, are not cherished, and so they can mess around with Ghanaians. We will not accept that, and we will go all out to protect Ghanaians and to make sure that the welfare of Ghanaians is safeguarded. So I can assure you that all is set for the next batch to arrive. We're just waiting for the South African authorities to finalize our request for the flight permits so that our chartered jets can move in and bring all the Ghanaians who have registered. And let me use this opportunity to say that contrary to a lot of disinformation, misinformation, and propaganda out there, the vast majority of Ghanaians we have registered, we've looked at their documentation. These are legal migrants. Disregard all those claims that these are people who are illegal migrants. It is not.
South Africa no Barman, yes, sir. Any padodo ya one will be a crime, one must say metro wondi, say war papas or do more about my gun and repatriation exercise and will be a mono say nipa 1,500 a pemnia henum. And I want my barbatro wondi, ewo at Nayahoya will be a preset or beside no befi, Robert Canabusian Fonsa. It's answer nipa no ador swana eya bro one musuntini say. One more action, one mujuma wodi no asensan kakra was suspended no temporarily. Na my coin said ye beya. Abayana musini atna ye no, yeah, was South Africa no. And South Africa Home Affairs, one beti me eshia. Na one more agent jine nyama ba kumie no bi ho afei. One more address sani padudu nyina nkrata. Ebegu ensaniani na one more ashe ye was sefata se one more etu ne ho anamon. Afei nkrata no womode ba ne papa ewomu woni a ebefa screening na hodo nyina mo na wono ayensa na application dodo ya aba no empanimfo e kire se wonmo guso a eyesa verification exercise no na esanse ebre no aboatia wonom na nkrata ho adwuma esese womo ye no so hianti e na ama wonom atwe ba esese wodi se nipa dodo nyina san ba fie no asensen kakra enye se won mo jai kra won homeso na won ma ye nkrata so nhihye na adwuma aka ni nyina akire won mo besan abiebiem high commission no ebo Ghana de hye anohoba se obia afei ena nanka wo pesa wo ba ho no oba register no won mo nto pununum na mom won ma kan hina no kakra bi enti won mo nka wakoma nto won yam na won ma mpanimfo bre enche won mo wie de wo ye no obesan abie ama de hye aka akire afei no omodo omonkrata eba no won mo so anya kwan no na empanimfo aye won so ho adwuma ede won abedru Ghana asumdie mu na wode abasobo ama Ghana de hye ni nyina se free bra wo fra se wo ye sa repatriation exercise no wo mante watimi wakame bia ne penchen ene hoyo wa ya bia wo bia dimra ne nhyehyɛ so pepepe asumdie muli aboa ama na mo empanimfo tu ne ma nyina atimi akoyie eno nti se sie die nipa 1,500 no wo mu guso eye won krata ho adwuma won timi fa wo mo mani manimu ya watwe asensan ebrepam wo besan atu anamo ya esefata se de be ya Ghana ni bi o South Africa ne ho enka we are no my de share South African sensemi so and anwumre ye gina ne de kase no asie Millennium Construction na eso yasene womo ye adwumaku a woton sase de mo manfo sansi dream mansions and houses ema wonom enti wo asase bi na pese wo si dream house esi so a Millennium ne contractor for esi dreams man ye reality ko womo ahye ye ewo Kumasi Boshe na Yas Junction na ene womo nkoto kese wo ha no fa construction ho a womo ebeye adwuma no amawo ombetwa ne yopo no ani age ho numbers no so wotime fa na afre empanimfo womada roman ye besum wanwumre midi e de AFIA
Obrempong akosi Jehovah
ya bena mo aseli de mo si ayasare so obrefie e beto aso amam